This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by trainer Buddy McGirt here in Saudi Arabia. Buddy, it's good to see you, good to speak to you. We had a bit of a mishap getting onto the same floor as each other. I apologise for that. But how are you?
I'm good. Can't complain.
I'm glad to hear it. Obviously, your charge, Dillian Whyte, returns on Saturday night. The last few years haven't gone the way he'd have liked. He's had a couple of fights in the meantime, obviously Christian Hammer fight, the Ebenezer Tete fight. But this version of Dillian, what have you made of him in camp? Have you seen a more motivated version of him?
Definitely more motivated. His attitude is totally different than this fight than it was for the previous two, and I think that's because it's a different situation. Different, we got a young man, fast, athletic. You know what I mean? Can punch. You know what I mean? They're not giving Dillian a shot. You know what I mean? And I think that gives him that extra motivation.
How much of a surprise is it to you? As you said, a lot of people are somewhat writing Dillian off going into this fight, despite his past experiences and successes in the division. How much of a surprise is it to you that that's been the case?
I'm not surprised at all. Whenever boxing gets a new face, and and they hot and they're knocking everybody out, whether it's a heavyweight, no matter what weight it is, there's always that build up around them. So it's to be expected. So I'm not surprised at all.
Just to stick with kind of that theme, on the flip side with Moses, as you mentioned, a young upcoming heavyweight. There's a lot of talent there. A lot of people expecting him to be the future of a division. For Dillian, why take that fight? Why not wait for a Joseph Parker? There's been talk about the Chisora trilogy.
Okay, but what was the key word in that sentence is wait. Why wait? Wait slowed the wagon down. You know what I mean? So he's not in a position where he can wait. You know what I mean? He's older. You know what I mean? So, to keep going to training camps and then not having fights come through, it's still wear and tear on your body. You know what I mean? You're sparring, you're getting ready, you still beat, the training is more harder than no, let me rephrase that. The training puts more wear and tear on your body than the fight. The fight is one night. The training is every day, 5-6 days a week, 6-7 weeks. That's a lot for the body to take, especially when you're up there in age. So it's not like he's 21 years old doing this, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just, like you say, you wait, then it never happens.
How much of Moses have you seen prior to this fight, Buddy?
Well, when I tell people I've never seen a video of him, I've never seen him fight, and people are like, oh, why you don't study him? He's knocked everybody out. You know what I mean? It's no disrespect to the fighter, you know what I mean? The kid is young, he's athletic, you know what I mean? He can fight, so he's knocked everybody out. So what am I going to study? A knockout? Let's be real. It's not like he's been in a fight where he's had like 8 grueling rounds where he had to get pushed to the limit. Someone you can sit and watch and be like, okay, I can learn from this. But he's fighting guys that he's knocking out. Boom, boom, boom. So what are you going to learn from that?
You've just mentioned it's not like he's been fighting guys who've taken him 8 grueling rounds, for example. I spoke to Ben Davison on Monday, and Ben said he'd be intrigued to see if Dillian tries to make it a little bit of a dogfight and to see how Moses reacts to it. He has no doubt in his mind as a team that Moses would react well.
Right.
But is that something that you guys want to do? You want to try and take him to those, those positions?
This is how I see it. We're going to go in there and box like Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? We got to make it a dogfight. We have to make it a dogfight. You know what I mean? So, but they got to make it a smart dogfight. That's the key. You can't go in there and just go buck wild and get hit with some dumb shit. No. You got to be smart about it. But you got to make it, you got to get him in the trenches. But you got to be smart of how you get him in the trenches. That's the key.
What's Dillian's mentality going into this fight in the sense of, is he looking at it from a perspective of if he loses, that might be the end of the road for him, or is he going into it thinking I've got nothing to lose here if I win? I'm backing them big fights once again.
He's got everything to gain, nothing to lose. They've written him off already. Then when he took the fight, I had people calling me saying, yo, what's wrong with Dillian? I'm like, what do you mean? Why did he take this fight? Well, who else is he going to fight? This is what the man does for a living. So who else is he going to fight? So you're going to sit and wait for, like guys like Joseph Parker and all of them. They're not going to fight Dill right now. They're right there on the cusp of trying to get Usyk. So why would they risk it against Dillian? You know what I mean? Why? They're there, so why would they risk it? Dillian's trying to get to where they're at. So in order to get there, we got to go through this kid Moses. It's the way of the world. It's the way the boxing business is.
one thing we've seen from Dillian this week, he's looking very lean. He seemed to put himself into great condition for this fight. How has that been, trying to get him back into the shape that he'd like, away from, say, the Ebenezer Tete fight or the Christian Hammer fight?
Well, I think that the motivation of this fight, not the stake, everything that's at stake for this fight, has changed his mentality. You know what I mean? I mean, he knows that he's got to give it all. I mean, it's not a secret. You know, he knows it's all or nothing. You know what I mean? So when we got to camp, you know, when I got to camp, he was already working. I'm like, yo, slow it down. He goes, buddy, this is it, man. I said, okay, I understand that, but you know what I mean? And a lot of weight came off by, you know, he kind of surprised me because he did road work outside, which I love that. That's the old school way. I mean, the hell with those fucking treadmills. You know what I mean? I mean, treadmills to me is a waste of time. But he hit the road, man. I mean, he was out there in the mornings, buddy. You know what I mean? Someone's gonna pick you up, and I'm gonna run. And he was running, man. And you know, people, how'd the weight come off? He was outside on the road, man. The old school way. That's the way you're supposed to do it, man. You know, back when they had 15-round fights, fucking guys wasn't running on no damn treadmill. He was outside hitting that road, man.
I imagine it's quite hot out there as well out in Portugal in midsummer.
But we do it early in the morning. You know, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? We get out. You know, well, he get out and hit the road. I'm in the car. I'm not running. I'm in the car following him. But, you know what I mean, he's getting it in. You know what I mean? And I when fighters do that, I love that. I love getting up in the morning watching them run because you're really working. You know what I mean? The treadmills don't have to work when you're on the damn treadmill. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, buddy, you're old school. Yes, I'm old school. But guess what? The old school fight is for 15 rounds. Hard. Can these guys today do it? Hell to the no. They're dead after 10 rounds.
I was about to ask, do you feel like it's somewhat of a dying breed then, in that sense, that fighters don't take it in the traditional way that you came through when you used to fight?
Listen, Floyd Mayweather, whenever you seen him running, where was he at? Outside. Roy Jones, outside. Ali, all
Manny
the greats.
Pacquiao still
Manny
for
Pacquiao, right, outside, man. You know what I mean? I mean, Freddie's an old school guy, so you know that's what got these guys there. You know what I mean? This other stuff, this treadmill shit, man, that's for guys like me, retired. We go in there and we walk and we act like we walk, you know what I mean, from one state to another.
But does Dillian become frustrated at all with all the talk of Moses potentially facing Alexander Usyk next?
You know, you will know the truth. If he was, he never showed it because in the gym, we didn't even talk about the kid Moses. We just focus on what we got to do. I mean, that's it. You know what I mean? We get work done, laugh, crack jokes, but the kid Moses never comes up in the conversation. Everyone in the gym knows what's at stake.
Given what's at stake, do you as a team all deem this to be the toughest challenge of his career?
I think it's the biggest challenge because, like we said earlier, no one's giving him a shot. I mean, everyone's preparing this kid for his next fight. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? When you're in a situation like this, you understand that it's do or die. So when you understand that and you know that, you don't need nobody to motivate you. You don't need anything to motivate you, especially when this is how you make your living.
Obviously, for most, Buddy, you can't read too much into the Christian Hammer and the Ebenezer Tete fight. Moses is a different level to those guys. For yourself, seeing him day in, day out in camp, have you got no reservations, no concerns at all that there'll be any form of ring rust fighting at a higher level than what he has for the past few years?
Well, you know, if you think ring rust, then you get a negative vibe. You know what I'm saying? So the fighter feeds off of you. So you got to have a positive attitude and be like, you know what, this is it. We got to give it our all. He's got to give it his all at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And I got to give him, and everybody in camp, we have to give our all to him just to keep that fire lit under his ass.
Just away from Dillian, Callum Smith. Obviously, there was a lot of talk of him potentially facing David Benavidez. That one never came through.
Right.
Instead, David Benavidez fighting Anthony Yard. But David Morrell has now been mentioned for Callum. I don't know if you've been having any conversations with Callum, but do you expect to see him and David Morrell?
Listen, let me tell you about Callum Smith. I can read anything I want. I don't even call him and say, hey, are you fighting this guy? I wait because Callum, the fight could get signed, and Callum will call me maybe 3 days later and say, hey, let's start camp. You know, Callum is just so laid back that, you know, he doesn't call, hey, I might be fighting this guy. He doesn't do none of that. When we talk on the phone, we laugh and we crack jokes. You know, we talk shit, you know me, I crack talk shit, I crack crazy jokes, but when it's fight time, when the fight is done and Callum knows the fight's done, and like if my phone rings in the middle of the day for no reason, I see Callum Smith, I'm like, all right, he's fighting now. And I'd be like, hello. And he's like, hey, when we're going to start? And then bam, then we get to work. So, everyone's like, oh, Callum might be fighting. I don't even call him and say, hey, Callum, I heard this. I don't even call him. Because he'd be like, I don't know. You know what I mean? That's Callum. He's so laid back. I can't call Paul because Paul would be like, shit, Callum will call you before he calls me.
Just on the theme then of David Morrell, have you seen or have you watched much of David?
I was at a fight when David Morrell fought in L.A. Yeah, I seen him fight in L.A. I didn't see the fight with Benavidez, but whoever they put in front of Callum, he'll be ready for.
How much confidence has Callum got on the back of that Buatsi victory?
I mean, I believe he's always had confidence. Even after the fight with the guy in Canada.
Better BF.
Yeah, I mean, when we started camp for the
Better BF fight.
No, for the Buatsi fight. We didn't even talk about the Better BF fight.
Okay.
It didn't even come up. Not once did he say, well, not one thing came up about it. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you go on to the next. You don't dwell on the past. The great Satchel Paige used to say, don't look back. Because when you look back on the past too much, it'll catch up with you. You look ahead. That's why they call it the past. It's the past. It's behind you. Keep it moving. So we never even spoke about that fight, not once.
The Rotunda's got some lovely treadmills in there, buddy. Have you got Callum? Have you got Paul running on them, or did Paul used to do the road work?
No, when I was training Paul said he did road work, but he didn't. Everybody knows that about Paul.
So what did Paul used to do?
Paul just come to the gym and just spar and hit the heavy back. But Callum, what he does with his conditioning, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I see him do sprints on there. Now, does he have running outside? I don't ask. I don't ask guys. You know what I mean? They do what they do, and they say, Coach, I'll pick you up to come to the gym at this time. I don't interfere with the conditioning. I don't get involved in that. I let them do what they do and handle their business. You know what I mean?
Perfect. Well, buddy, listen, I appreciate your time. Thanks for speaking to me, and I'll catch you soon.
And thanks for giving me the wrong floor in the hotel. Don't listen to this guy's directions.